Guys, here talking about the box office, and we finally have a new movie that could make some money, but again, they spent too much money on the movie. So the Fall Guy is looking to be a massive failure, only making $65 million. You're like, oh, but this movie cost us like probably $80 to $70 million to make. It'll probably make back its budget in no time. No, they spent $125 million, and this has been reported by multiple sources. Even the numbers themselves says the budget is $125 million. This is pretty expensive for a non-franchise movie, obviously. They have not released it yet in China, but again, China is no longer the deciding factor for Hollywood movies anymore, as well. Okay, so this movie is looking to be a massive failure. So the movie is currently, I think, projected at negative 100 to. Of course, I didn't put my numbers full calculated, so they're not 100% accurate. I'll do that next time. But the Fall Guy looks to be a massive failure for Hollywood. This is Hollywood has had some failures this year. Okay, Madame Web was a failure. Ghostbusters, the new Ghostbusters movie was a failure. A lot of non-franchise movies are failures. Okay. But, yeah, The Fall Guy is a massive failure. We're not counting the Ungentlemanly Warfare because that released on streaming internationally. But I bet either way the movie's a failure. They're not going to make back the $145 million. No way. Challengers was a failure, as we talked about last week. Abigail and Civil War didn't do too well. It's funny, the only movie that did really well were the franchise movies. And this is Hollywood's problem. This is all people really want to see. Also, Argyle was a failure as well. Book of Crowns is a failure. It just seems that Hollywood continues to do poorly. Okay. And this is the beginning of the summer of this year. I know the reason why is because of the strikes. They delayed a bunch of movies because of the strikes as well. Which is why we got Dune this year. Instead of last year. It was supposed to release last year. Against Captain Marvel 2. Imagine how much worse Captain Marvel 2 would have done against Dune. Okay? But even then, Captain Marvel 2 still failed. Or as known as the Marvels. But The Fall Guy is a massive failure for Hollywood. Okay? Hollywood should be embarrassed of themselves. And they can't get, like good challengers, they can't seem to get people to go watch these non-franchise movies. They can't, for some weird reason. Okay? But if they make a new like Godzilla or franchise movie, people come in droves, but not for Fall Guy. Not based off any franchise or any media whatsoever. I know it's loosely based off like some old TV show that like not many people that some people watched, but it's very loosely based off that TV show. This movie is looking to be a massive failure as well. Okay, let's go back to the box office weekend. Yeah, they re-released The Phantom Menace in theaters, which means the movie actually made $8 million more. Yes. See? Disney, this is what happens when you release a movie that people... Okay, I know The Phantom Menace is a very divisive movie, but this movie made... You know, they always say that this movie is like one of the worst Star Wars movies. Oh, yeah. Tony Red, Luca, and Soul combined did worse on the re-release of Phantom Menace. That's what sent shockwaves down to Disney's core. Okay, the fact that this is a like 20-year-old movie now. This came out in 1998. Okay, this 20-plus-year-old movie did better than Pixar's newest offerings, or the fact that Shrek 2 did better in a re-release as well. This is embarrassing for Hollywood. This actually did better than some of the newer movies, but. This would be embarrassing for Hollywood. This weekend is embarrassing for Hollywood. Then we have Challengers. This movie continues to fail at the box office. It made $52 million as of now. Congratulations, Challengers. You made it less than you lost less than $100 million. Congratulations. But even then, no one still wants to see this movie because no one cares. Even with Zendaya being in the movie, absolutely no one cares. Okay? Absolutely no one cares. So... Torah, which is a horror movie. The movie only made $10 million. This movie costed nothing to make. as well. So this movie only needs to make another $10 million to break even. So Sony could have a tiny success on their hands, kind of like how Monkey Man was. Okay, it was a tiny success. Godzilla X Kong: A New Empire passes $546 million globally. Again, the power and the might of the franchise still continues. Godzilla had a decent drop-off of 38%. It's just that 61% drop-off really harmed the legs of this movie. That 61% drop-off the movie had. But the movie did, when I predicted the movie would have decent holds throughout April, because nothing new was coming out. That's why. Nothing of substantial value is coming out. And, you know, Hollywood can't seem to get butts in the feeders for all these non-franchise movies, which should be making money and should be breaking even. So, you know, but again, Hollywood can't seem to get people to go watch those movies like Abigail or Civil War or Challengers. But Godzilla X Kong: A New Empire will probably be amongst the highest grossing movies of the year. Or it might be like number 11 or 12, but you don't really have many $500 million gross movies anymore. You don't really have many. You used to have so many. It used to be such a common occurrence, but Hollywood has just lost touch with its audience. The average person. Okay, and yeah, let's go back to the last one, and that is Civil War. So Civil War is not doing too well. People say, but 62 million, that's a lot. Oh yeah, the movie needs to still make 46 million more to break even. It's not gonna. It's dead. This movie is dead. It's gonna be replaced by the summer movies that are gonna come out, like Planet of the Apes and stuff. You know, the big movies that people actually want to see because, you know, it's a part of a franchise. Or Garfield is the iconic character. Or the Mad Max franchise, okay? And, of course, Civil War, this movie is a very controversial movie, obviously. You know, we always have to state that. But, yeah, this movie is, yes, a box office flop. It is not going to gain money for A24, which historically has had successful movies. Next is Unsung Hero, which has broken even, which means this movie will make money. Yes, this movie will probably make money next week, as this movie feel like a release is still not done. But I don't think it's going to make that much money. But, hey, Lionsgate finally has a successful movie for once that isn't John Wick or Saw. So, they should be happy and proud that they finally have a successful movie for once. Next is Kung Fu Panda 4. But again, despite the quote-unquote mixed reception this movie seems to have, it seemed to have pretty good legs. You know, people wanted to see this movie as well. I think it will hold on for another week, considering the fact that, you know, there was not much competition until If comes out. Well, they're going to consider that a live-action animation hybrid. Don't worry, they'll consider that live-action animation hybrid, but not Godzilla, okay? With the giant monsters and stuff, the giant CGI monsters fighting. We're not going to consider Guardians of the Galaxy that, but If animation live-action hybrid because it's a cartoon. That's just very stupid, okay? But yeah. As well. Next is Abigail, which continues to fail at the box office, which this movie is going to lose money at the very end of the day. Again, I didn't see any hype for this movie at all. So if there were challenges, like no one was like, "Oh my God, what this again?" As I explained with challenges, this is the problem with Hollywood. They can't seem to get these no-name movies off like they did in the 90s and 2000s and 2010s anymore. And the 2010s, it was really just dependent on the director or the actors, who did ruin the faith of the public because of the takes on the election or other things or mocking them and stuff. It's really the actors and Hollywood's fault. They're now in this pitfall where they can't seem to sell these movies with all these big actors in them and always seem to sell the franchise movies or the rare occasions something like Oppenheimer makes money. So yeah, Abigail is a flop, a failure. Next is Ghostbusters: A Frozen Empire. Nears $200 million. So this movie would be a modest watch. It won't be a massive watch like some people are saying. I think I think Sony will probably make money on this movie through streaming. You know, a lot of these quote unquote box office failure franchise movies, they typically do have a second life on streaming, which most likely means we're gonna be getting another Ghostbusters movie either way. They probably say, oh, it made $109 million domestic, pretty good. Still, Ghostbusters is still profitable. But again, I just think Sony should just refrain from making another Ghostbusters movie. I really think they should. I think it's a good idea to refrain from this franchise in the future. But considering the fact that Hollywood is so dry for money, they're going to milk these franchises until the very end. Okay, to the very end as well. The movie underperformed Afterlife by a significant margin, and of course underdoes it for a phrase at the 2016 Ghostbusters movie. So yes, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire continues to fail. Next is the Ministry of Undeadly Warfare, and they have numbers in for Russia because they didn't release that on streaming. But everywhere else, they released it on a streaming service, Amazon Prime, as well. And yeah, we're done with the box office today. Yeah, this is a very bad week for Hollywood. We're going to also talk about Dune as well, but Dune is basically done at the box office. $708 million is a very respectable number. But as well, but the 62% drop. I just find they kept taking this movie out of theaters, but they will take something like Challengers out of theaters. Like, no one wants to watch Challengers. Okay, no one wants to watch Abigail, okay? But they really rushed out the digital release date and didn't want this movie to have any staying power on theaters. I bet if they didn't rush out the digital release date, like if Oppenheimer, this movie would pass $100 million domestic and probably $800 million globally. But again, Hollywood's greed knows no bounds. So yeah, I think if you like our fan of movies, you should be very scared for the future of Hollywood. Okay, I think they've already done it to themselves. This doesn't base out the past couple of weekends in the February box office. This is going to be a rough year for Hollywood. Almost certainly. Goodbye.